Before we begin this emotional story, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you never miss more heartbreaking love stories, emotional dramas, and powerful life lessons like this one. Your support helps us bring more beautiful videos for you every single week. It was a cold, rainy evening in New York City. The streets were wet, the sky was dark, and thousands of people were rushing home after work. Among them was a poor young man named Daniel. Daniel was only 23 years old, but life had already made him older from the inside. He worked in a small mechanic shop near the edge of the city. His clothes were always covered in grease, his hands were rough from hard work, and his salary was barely enough to survive. But despite all his struggles, Daniel had one thing that kept him alive every day: hope. Every morning, he woke up before sunrise, walked through crowded streets, and spent long hours fixing broken cars. People rarely respected him. Some rich customers treated him like he was invisible. Others shouted at him for small mistakes. But Daniel stayed quiet. Deep inside, he believed that one day his life would change. One evening, while Daniel was fixing a car outside the garage, a black luxury car suddenly stopped nearby. The engine had failed. Daniel slowly walked toward the car and knocked gently on the window. As the window rolled down, Daniel saw the most beautiful girl he had ever seen. Her name was Sophia. She had soft brown eyes, long dark hair, and a calm voice that instantly touched Daniel's heart. Sophia looked worried because her car had broken down in the middle of the rain. Daniel smiled politely and said, "Don't worry. I'll fix it." Sophia watched him carefully as he repaired the engine under heavy rain. Within 20 minutes, the car started again. "You saved me today," Sophia said with a smile. Daniel looked down shyly. "It's my job." Before leaving, Sophia handed him some money, but Daniel refused. "You don't need to pay extra," he said quietly. Sophia was surprised. Most people always asked rich customers for more money, but Daniel was different. That night, Sophia could not stop thinking about the poor mechanic who stood in the rain just to help her. Days passed. Then one afternoon, Sophia returned to the garage again. This time her car was perfectly fine. Daniel looked confused. "Your car doesn't seem broken." Sophia smiled softly. "Maybe I just wanted to see the mechanic again." Daniel's heart started beating faster. From that day, Sophia began visiting often. Sometimes she brought coffee for him. Sometimes she sat quietly and watched him work. Slowly, their conversations became longer. Daniel learned that Sophia belonged to a very wealthy family. Her father owned hotels and businesses across the country. But Sophia hated the fake world of rich people. She loved how honest Daniel was. For the first time in years, Daniel felt truly happy. One evening, they walked together near the river. The city lights reflected beautifully on the water. Sophia looked at Daniel and asked, "Do you ever wish you were rich?" Daniel smiled sadly. "Every day," he answered. "Not because I want luxury. I just want my mother to stop suffering." Sophia's eyes filled with tears. Daniel told her about his life. His father had died when he was young. His mother worked hard cleaning houses so Daniel could survive. Many nights they slept hungry. Many winters they had no heat in their apartment. Sophia quietly held his hand. And in that moment, both of them realized they were falling deeply in love. Weeks turned into months. Daniel and Sophia became inseparable. They laughed together, walked together, and dreamed together. Daniel started believing that maybe love was stronger than money. But life was about to test them. One night, Sophia's father discovered everything. He was furious. "How dare you date a mechanic?" he shouted. Sophia tried to explain. "Dad, he's kind. He's honest. He loves me." But her father only cared about status and reputation. You belong to a powerful family, he said coldly. Not to a poor boy with dirty hands. Sophia cried all night. Meanwhile, Daniel waited outside her mansion in the rain, hoping to see her. The next day, Sophia secretly met Daniel in a park. Tears rolled down her face as she hugged him tightly. My father wants to separate us, she whispered. Daniel stayed silent for a moment. Then he gently touched her face and said, maybe he's right. Sophia stepped back in shock. No, she cried. Don't say that. Daniel looked into her eyes with pain. I love you too much to destroy your future. Sophia shook her head. You are my future. But Daniel knew the truth. Rich people would never accept him. He could already see the hatred in her father's eyes. Still, they continued meeting secretly. For months, they fought against the world just to stay together. But pressure slowly destroyed everything. Sophia's father stopped her credit cards, took away her car, and forced her to stay inside the mansion. He even arranged her marriage with the son of a wealthy businessman. Sophia felt trapped. One night, she escaped from home and ran directly to Daniel. When Daniel opened the door and saw her crying, he immediately hugged her. I don't want money, Sophia cried. I just want you. Daniel's heart broke. He wanted to give her the world, but he could barely pay rent. That night, they sat together in silence while rain touched the windows. Finally, Daniel spoke quietly. If you stay with me, your family will hate you forever. I don't care, Sophia answered immediately. But I care, Daniel whispered. Sophia looked at him with tears. And then Daniel made the hardest decision of his life. The next morning, he lied to her. I don't love you anymore, he said coldly. Sophia froze. Daniel forced himself to continue. You deserve someone better. Someone rich. Someone successful. Sophia's hands trembled. You're lying, she whispered. But Daniel turned away because he could not let her see his tears. Sophia cried for hours before finally leaving. And as soon as the door closed, Daniel collapsed to the floor in pain. He had not lost her because he stopped loving her. He lost her because he loved her too much. Days became weeks. Daniel stopped smiling. The mechanic shop felt empty. The streets felt colder. Life lost all meaning. Meanwhile, Sophia's family forced her to continue preparations for the wedding. Every night she cried alone in her room, remembering Daniel. Then one evening, Sophia received shocking news. Daniel had been badly injured while saving a child during a car accident near the garage. Without thinking, Sophia rushed to the hospital. When she entered the room, she saw Daniel lying unconscious with bandages across his body. Tears streamed down her face. She grabbed his hand tightly. Please wake up, she whispered. Hours later, Daniel slowly opened his eyes. When he saw Sophia crying beside him, his heart shattered again. I thought you hated me, she whispered. Daniel finally could not hide the truth anymore. I never stopped loving you. Sophia cried harder and hugged him carefully. For the first time in months, they felt alive again. But reality still stood between them. Sophia's father soon arrived at the hospital. When he saw them together again, anger filled his face. But before he could speak, Daniel slowly stood up despite the pain. I know I'm poor, Daniel said. I know I can never compete with your world. But I would give my life for your daughter. The room became silent. Sophia's father looked at Daniel carefully. For the first time, he saw not a poor mechanic, but a man willing to sacrifice everything for love. Days later, something unexpected happened. Sophia's father visited Daniel's garage alone. He watched Daniel working honestly for hours without complaining. Finally, he spoke quietly. You really love her, don't you? Daniel nodded. With all my heart. The older man stayed silent for a long moment. Then he sighed deeply. All my life, I chased money and power, he admitted. But maybe I forgot what real love looks like. Daniel looked shocked. Sophia's father slowly extended his hand. Take care of my daughter. Daniel's eyes filled with tears. Months later, Daniel and Sophia stood together near the same river where they once shared their dreams. But this time, they were no longer separated by fear. Sophia smiled as she held Daniel's hand tightly. You see, she whispered. Love is stronger than money. Daniel smiled softly. And under the city lights, two broken hearts finally found peace together. Thank you for listening to this emotional love story. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with your friends so we can continue bringing you more emotional and beautiful stories every week.